तेरा Indian
चालू करो चालू. Hello and welcome to Boomer Live, ladies and gentlemen. And here we are, a few minutes, or rather, 1.5 hours away from the big game in Wankhede Stadium. It is the semi-final. Now, a lot of people are already talking, why are we hyping up the semi-final like a final? But I always believe semi-final is your biggest final because you win the semi-final, an Indian team, I think you are almost there. You're just there. And it's been India's biggest hurdle over the last few years. Look at the 2019, 2020, 2022, or for that matter, 2016, 2015. So it's a semi-final block. Though we played two ICC, I mean, we say three, four rather, four ICC finals, including two WTC finals and one Champions Trophy and one T20 World Cup final. And yeah, we have played four total, and we've done decently well even there to get to the final. But unfortunately, we've not had that hands on the trophy. I thought 2014 was the closest we could have ever come, but then the hunt is still there. We're one decade away. We're already one decade away after the first win, which is the Champions Trophy win, and the last win rather. I mean, 10 long years and we've not had any success is the sad part over here. And that's one of the reasons why we all are desperate. I mean, the one decade which is surpassed, if you had told me in 2013 we would not be winning a trophy for next 10 years, I'd not be buying that, because we are so close. We have come so close multiple times. I have Sandipani with me. Sandipani, nervous?
Absolutely. I think I I have been really nervous since the morning actually because
Yeah.
I mean just the memories of the 2019 World Cup just ran through my head and just passed my head. So I just called one of my friends. Actually, last time when the World Cup was held, we were watching it together and we were actually searching for a house, looking for a house during my graduation days. So it was a horrible experience in 2019. And also, but I have some sweet memories of the 2011 World Cup when we watched it from our homes, and then I mean the celebration was wild. A lot of people went onto the streets. It was magic out there, and also I mean I am a huge believer of numbers. So 2011 I was 12 years old. Now I'm 24. I mean you guys are knowing my age right now, but so I think
2011,
Kudratka
yeah,
is a
correct.
12,
Correct.
24. Then probably the next one will come at 36. Hopefully we'll get it.
No, I don't know. Next one will come faster, I believe. It's been 28, then the half of 28. You can't get 14. So it is 12.
But even
Then hopefully not.
at the start of this year, not at the start of this year, but before the ICC World Test Championship, you had asked us. I mean, Jaren was there, me, you. You had asked whether we would be happy with the ICC Test Championship or the ODI World Cup. I mean, both of you had inclined towards the Test Championship, but I had a gut feeling that that was
No,
going to be
I
India.
was like anything. I told anything. That
Yeah,
was
anything, but yeah, obviously now at this point, India would take anything after 10 long years. Especially, it hurts because you have been the most dominant side in the world across this last decade or so. Because you talk about bowling, we have conquered bilateral tournaments, bilateral series away from home as well. We have had some very impressive performances. You talk about milestones and records. I think we have had some of the best players of the game of this generation playing in our own team. So I think everything has been going our way just apart from these knockout matches. So I think
yeah.
the tension, the hype, everything is absolutely real, and I totally agree. I mean, if you can just get past this semi-final hurdle, because you will feel that you have gone through a big step. Because talk about 2015, 2019, we lost in the semi-finals, and I mean, okay, 2015 Australia were the favorites, but we had a good start chasing 300 as well. And also, I think 2019, I think we were completely favorites. Then restricting New Zealand to 240, there was no way we should have lost that game. So I think a lot
Yeah.
of people are now associating the baggage and everything with this Indian team, especially because of the results in the T20 World Cup as well. Then you talk about the ICC Test Championship. We are so near, but yet so far from that championship glory as well. So I think all in all, it's been the pressure, it's been the nerves that India. It's just a 30 to 40 minutes passage of play that India are completely losing the plot over the last year or so. There has been slight passages of play of say 40 minutes to 2 hours in Test cricket, but in talk about ODIs and T20s, this 30 to 40 minutes of poor play or poor batting in particular has really cost us the game. If we talk about the 2022 T20 World Cup, then poor bowling for 30 to 40 minutes of play. So I think to counter those nerves and to hold your nerve, even if you're trying to, even if you're having a collapse of sorts, to for players to hold their nerves and believe in themselves. I think that is going to be the key. We have done it for 9 games. I think we can carry on for the next 2 games as well.
I mean, I agree. I mean, what you've done for 9 games, you don't have to change a lot, right? That's what they talk about champion teams. You don't try to do different things. Come the semi-final, final, you keep doing what you've been doing in the group stage games, and it's just an extension of what you're doing in the group stage. The moment you start considering this as a different game, that's when you start overthinking. That's when you start making changes. Now, there are a lot of reports that Ashwin might play today, and I was very baffled when I read this report considering it's a used pitch. So, firstly, the biggest news today morning or since last night is that we're going to be playing in a used pitch, which India played Sri Lanka on, and also the South Africa England game. So, it's pitch number 6, not pitch number 7, which was ought to be ready for the final, for the semi final rather. And Indian team management, I don't know, the MCA ground staff decided that we're not going to use that. We're going to be using a used pitch. Now, there is no rule that there should be a fresh pitch for the semi-final. There is no ICC mandate on that, so you can use a used pitch again, and there is no bar on that. So India will be playing on a used pitch to start off with, which is pitch number 6, where India played Sri Lanka and South Africa played England. Both were high-scoring games, batting first, but under lights you saw a lot of swing there as well. But we do not know what is going to be there for the spinners in this track because both these games you saw very little for the spinners in both the innings. But Sandeepani, you pitch a lot of inclination towards Ashwin, a lot of calls on media yesterday. You think that'll be a stupid thing for Indian team at this point of time to change the playing 11 and to bring in an Ashwin instead of a Siraj or a Shami?
I think it is very, very unlikely that India will come and change at this stage. Yeah, I mean the rumors of Ashwin playing is going is making the rounds, especially because it is a used pitch and people are expecting it to be on the slower side. So it might just assist the spinners. Having said that, I don't really see or I don't really feel the need of having an Ashwin in the team right now. I am the biggest supporter of Ashwin right now, but this is what we have maintained for so many years right now. That on a given day, on when the knockout arrives, you shouldn't really tinker with your teams. You should trust the 11 that has taken the field on multiple occasions. And India haven't made a change to their playing 11 since the fifth game when they played New Zealand. Since then, they have played the same team for the next 6 games, 5 games so
Yeah,
far. And I think they have done the job with the bat, with the ball. I know there are certain constraints. We don't bat really deep, and even with the bowling department, we just have the 5 bowlers. So
yeah,
I mean, there might come a time, or if New Zealand takes on us with the ball, I mean, they with the bat, if they attack one of our spinners or put
yeah,
pressure on a Siraj, I think things are going to get difficult. But having said that, such things haven't happened yet because all the other players have really stepped up
yeah.
when they needed to. Having
Correct.
said that, I would feel that getting in an Ashwin this time around will probably lengthen your batting. But do you really want to lengthen your batting in this sort of a game where you know that all your batters, top order batters, are in form? Surya Kumar Yadav is a player who hasn't really got an opportunity playing more overs. I think he has come in after the 40th over, so
Yeah.
he has just looked to accelerate and got out. So I think if you give him the opportunity, I think he's a decent enough batter at number 6. And since things are working for India, me after being the biggest supporter of Ashwin, I would still say that keep the same team. Don't chop and change right now. Don't drop a Siraj and
Yeah,
bring in
that's
MS.
that's what we've been talking about, right? If God forbid India goes on to lose today, everything will pinpoint towards that one change, and you will have to deal with the brunt of it. It'll look even far worse. You make that one change and you lose, than you don't make any change and lose. Because if you don't make any change and lose, you still will identify within that. You will still talk about that game. But if you make that one change and if it doesn't go in your favor, and that particular player doesn't perform well and doesn't get anything out of the wicket, you're going to suffer the brunt of it if you go on to lose. So that's very dangerous at this point. You don't want to go into that particular phase where you are making that one change just for the sake of making that one change, because Siraj is bowling well, Shami is bowling well, Bumrah is irreplaceable. You can definitely not replace Kuldeep as well. So to make a change instead of a fast bowler there doesn't really head into my mind as well. You stick in with your playing 11, and whatever you've done so far in this World Cup, and especially towards the last 5 games, It's with this 11, and even against Netherlands, if you wanted to make a change, you should have done it against
Yeah.
Netherlands to heading into this game. Even against Netherlands, you are very clear that you don't want to tinker with your 11. You want to give them game practice. So at this point, I don't really buy into that thought. It's still media reports. It's not what Indian team might have even thought. Maybe obviously there would have been temptations. You'd have had a discussion or two because there was long discussion, long chatter between Ajit Agarkar, Rohit Sharma, Rahul Dravid as to who should have been playing, who should be playing rather. But at the end
Yeah,
of the
and
day, yeah,
yeah, go ahead. And also, I feel Ashwin is no pushover. I think he got an opportunity against Australia. He came good for the side. He bowled really a very tight spell out there, restricting the Australian batters. So there is nothing against Ashwin's bowling, but I totally agree with you on the point that if they wanted to make a change, if they knew that the pitch is going to be on the slower side, then they should have implemented the change in the game against Netherlands itself. They should have rested some of their key bowlers, but they did not do that. They trusted this 11 to take the field. So I think I agree with you. It's just media reports, and Rohit Sharma is going to stick with the same 11.
yeah, knowing Rohit Sharma at least, whatever he has done with Mumbai
Yeah.
Indians as well, he's not a player who would really who really believes in making changes for conditions. If he believes he's a winning combination, they can win in any surface, regardless of where they play. And that's one of the reasons why this Indian team has been successful. You have a Kuldeep Yadav to take the ball away from the left-handers. So you don't need an Ashwin particularly, and you have a Ravindra Jadeja who's equally good against right-handers and left-handers, in my opinion. And if you wanted to use someone, you have tried out your six bowling option in the last game. Yeah, Shubman Gill can roll his arm over. Rohit Sharma can roll his arm over. If you want, you can make Virat Kohli ball as well. If at all you want a six bowling
And
option. So at
also, I
this
think it's
point,
a Jadeja in form. I think there is a huge difference between a Jadeja who is out of form with the ball, which we had seen building up to this World Cup. Jadeja was not in the best of forms with the ball. His bowling stats were on the decline since the 2018 or 2019. He was slowly and steadily becoming a defensive bowler in the ODIs. But this World Cup, we have just seen him coordinate so well with Kuldeep Yadav, with a Mohammad Siraj coming in the middle overs, or even with the Ashwin in the first game as well. You saw Jadeja and combined well with all the bowlers. He's keeping the pressure from one end. When he's not keeping the pressure, when the other bowler is keeping the pressure, he's picking up wickets. He has picked up a 5 wicket haul in this game,
yeah,
and all of India's five bowlers have gone on to pick more than 10 wickets in this World Cup. And Siraj has the worst stats of them all, picking up just the 12 wickets. But still, I mean,
12
Siraj
wicket is
being the
no
worst,
mere achievement.
yeah, being the worst of this Indian bowling lineup, he still ends up in the top wicket takers tally. If you consider throughout, he's the number two bowler in the world right now. Keshav Maharaj just dethroned him,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
still, I think it's a side that any team would fear facing, especially right now. And also, New Zealand will have those nerves as well. New Zealand have
Absolutely.
won just the one game in the last 5 games, that too against Sri Lanka. So they won't be
Yeah.
feeling very good about themselves as well.
So Teju says this match is so important that if we lose, it's an end of an era. I agree with Teju totally on this because this is the big game, to be very honest. People are talking about revenge match and whatnot. At this point, you just want to cross this hurdle because I think you're more nervous for this game than the final because you know this is where you've always stopped, right? As you cross this hurdle, you never know, you can go on to win. And I believe, and all of us believe, that this is the best team to cross that hurdle because you've been so good. I mean, you've done everything right. Now you really have to hit the bat on your own foot to lose this game at this point.
I mean, let's talk about the consistency level, right? We all over the media, everywhere, everybody is talking about how consistent India
Yeah.
has been over the last 10 years. But let's see how consistent New Zealand has been over the last 7 8 years. 2015 World
Yeah.
Cup finals, 2019 World Cup finals, 2021, 2022 T20 World Cup semi-finals. So I
One
think
final.
New Zealand semi-final
21
and final,
final.
yeah, and one final as well. So I think New Zealand have come very very close, and also they have won the ICC World Test Championship
Yeah.
race as
They've
well.
been more consistent
So
than us.
they have been more consistent than us, and also they have been unlucky in terms of the
Yeah,
white ball
let's just
format
say
as well.
2014 T20 World Cup. Okay, 2015 finals, 2014 T20 World Cup semi-finalists. They were Duckworth,
Yeah,
Sri Lanka balled them out for 58 something. 2015 final, 2016 semi-final T20 World Cup. 2017 they had a very bad Champions Trophy, but 2019 final, 2021 final, 2021 World Test Championship final winners
yeah.
rather. 2022 semi-finalists, and here we are, 2023
So India are
semi-finalists.
probably up against the most, I mean, the second most consistent team after them over the last decade, because they have had
I
massive
think they've been
results
more
in ICC
consistent
tournaments.
than India if you look at the last
Yeah, in
seven,
ICC
eight.
tournaments in particular.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you talk about Australia being the five-time world champions, but if you talk about Australia, yes, they got the 2021 T20 World Championship. But apart from that, they have also, I mean, the consistency has been the same. If you could talk about New Zealand, Australia, they have been almost on similar terms. And Australia also won the ICC World Test Championship this time around as well. So I think Australia, India, and New Zealand have been the three most consistent teams over the last decade or so. And
Yeah,
it's
Australia, New Zealand,
only
India,
fair that
absolutely.
we get to,
Last
I
three
mean,
World Cups, three semi-finals. I mean, obviously, there's only one change in all these World Cups. We're back to the 2015 lineup of semi-finals. Only the difference of fixtures are slightly different. It's just the opposite of each other. But the fact of the matter is, this lineup was there in 2015, almost same lineup in 2019 with England barring, and the lineup is back again. So it's these three teams who have dominated over the last 4 years, and especially New Zealand. You cannot take them for granted at any point of stage in this tournament at this point, at least. What do you think India will target on New Zealand when they bat or ball to go on full flow? Now, obviously, for India to when they bat first, they have one thing in mind, that is to make sure they don't lose early wickets. That they would want to, apply the pressure back on New Zealand bowlers, not just to conserve and bat out. It's Wankhede. You want to make the most out of it, so you'd want to put pressure back. That's to attack your opening bowlers. You've seen that with New Zealand. The moment you go after Trent Bolt, this team is slightly jittery because then they're looking out for options. Because you remember that Fakhar Zaman innings, because Fakhar Zaman started attacking Trent Bolt, there was a Tim Southee who had no answer. In the last match against Sri Lanka, there was a Kushal Perera who was attacking other bowlers, but not Trent Bolt necessarily. So the whole thing comes to the very fact that if you attack Trent Bolt, then this team has no options because before the game against South Africa, they had a Matt Entry who was supporting Trent Bolt throughout. But now without Matt Entry, even in the 2019 World Cup, it was Matt Entry who caused the havoc for India. So no Matt Entry is a big loss for them. So that's why India will target Lockie Ferguson number one, a Tim Southee, and also a Trent Bolt because India will know, and India have done that in the recent past. India have gone behind the strike bowler of the opposition teams in all games. If you look at
yeah.
the Australian game, India went after a Hazelwood. If you look at the game against Pakistan, India went after a Shaheen and Harris who were strike bowlers. If you look at the England game, though England were putting pressure on us, we tried to attack Willie out as well. So there was a clear pattern. We went after Jansen, who was a strike bowler for them. So India have gone after the strike bowler because that's where you deliver the pressure back. The moment you attack your strike bowler, the opposition team does not have a lot of options. But if you look at India, you attack at Bumrah, you still have Mohammad Shami and Mohammad Siraj. That's why India is in a luxurious position in comparison to New Zealand. But if you talk about bowling first, yeah, if India bowling second rather or bowling first, whenever India balls, India look to pick up Rachin Ravindra, who has been the backbone of this entire tournament. The moment you get Kane Williamson early on to bat, you never know. I mean, the team is going to be under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I think the top four for New Zealand with the bat. I think if you talk about batting stats in this World Cup, I think both the teams have been quite similar. New Zealand have been a bit inferior in terms of batting. They have been very, very close to India. But I think I would agree with you. The bowling is the main differentiator. I think India have been by far the best bowling department in this World Cup across all formats. We were seeing some of the stats yesterday. You talk about bowling in the power plays, bowling in the middle overs, bowling at the death overs. They have been very, very economical. They have been very, very tight. They have known what lines to ball to what player. So I think the matchup is something that they have really studied as well. Similar with New Zealand as well. I think the batters have done a spectacular job. It's just that Matt Henry's injury or Matt Henry getting hit for some runs against Australia, and even in the game against India, Rohit Sharma really took the attack on Matt Henry. And I think whenever you have put the pressure on say this time Matt Henry will not be there, so Trent Bolt will be the strike bowler. So the battle between Trent Bolt versus Rohit Sharma is going to be the one to watch out for because a lot of people will say that will set the momentum for the innings, for the Indian innings whenever they're batting. Rohit Sharma versus Trent Bolt. If Rohit Sharma can counter Trent Bolt, I think New Zealand, a lot of shoulders in New Zealand will drop. And similarly,
Absolutely.
if Trent Bolt can somehow get Rohit Sharma early and get in Kohli early, I mean, get in Kohli to bat early, then we have seen Kohli be a bit tentative early on in his innings, especially if one wicket is down very early. I think Kohli and Gill would look to maintain the momentum that India has taken throughout the game. That is where New Zealand will really fancy their chances to
Yeah,
pick more
yeah.
wickets in the power play and then probably crumble India.
I mean, this is such a big game. For me, Rohit Sharma is going to be a decisive factor in this team. It's not like other players are not decisive factors, they're not big players. But if Rohit Sharma plays big today, you win a game. That is it. The pitch controversies have already started. To be honest, I don't call it controversies, but it's just that you have to make some noise before a final and semi-final. And because India is playing, every time India plays, there's a lot of controversy around it. Do you guys
I think
talk
it's good.
about a huge
It's
pitch
good. I
being?
think controversies create hype, and I think it's
Yeah,
good
if
for
you
the
guys
game.
remember T20 World Cup semi-final 2022, Pakistan was at New Zealand. It was a huge pitch which was given to New Zealand, and you saw what happened. So that's what I'm saying. Nobody spoke about those things. You all of a sudden want to talk about this particular game, but there have been multiple occasions when a used pitch was given. 2022 Adelaide, it was a used pitch. Who had the worst of it? India lost that game by 10 wickets at the end of the day. So nobody talks about it. If India goes on to win, yes, used pitch. If India doesn't win, oh my god, why did you choose a used pitch? So it's just a two-edged sword at the end of
And
the
if
day.
I mean, if India goes on to win, it is all going to be about the script that Jay Shah has written before the game.
Yeah, yeah.
If
Because
India goes
Arjuna
on to lose, I
Ranatunga
think
has come out and said a big statement as well. Arjuna
yeah.
Ranatunga, former Sri Lankan World Cup winning captain, has gone on to say Jay Shah runs Sri Lankan cricket. So I really don't understand. There's no Sri Lankan cricket at this point, so technically he could be an ex-party member in that. Um, I believe this will be a pressure match than the final for India. I agree with you. This could be a pressure match more than the final, as we said at the start of the leg. This is the hurdle which India wants to cross at this point. Can India make New Zealand all out on 100 like they did against Sri Lanka? I think we are. Let's just not disregard them. If it happens, it happens. But
No, I think the only way that happens is if India bats first and scores somewhere in excess of 330, 340. Then New Zealand will be under extreme pressure. And that is when players like Devon Conway, Rachin Ravindra, Kane Williamson, who are really, really solid batters. Because when you talk about, somebody spoke in yesterday's live regarding you need some sort of solidarity or substance to survive in a wonky pitch early on, and then go on to you have to play some defensive cricket to then go on to attack and reap the rewards for your patience. But I mean, talking about that, New Zealand team has very, very solid players. Devon Conway, Rachin Ravindra, Kane
yeah,
Williamson are very, very technically solid players. So I think to dismiss them early, you have to put them under immense pressure, and that
yeah,
can only happen if there is scoreboard pressure. If you can, if you even if you are bowling first, if you can put them to say 17, 18 runs in the first 7, 8 overs, something that India did in the last game. And you saw
yeah,
New Zealand lose 2 early wickets, and they were also about to lose Rachin Ravindra as well. But then again, since they had solidarity, Rachin Ravindra and Darren Mitchell uh, survived that period after that catch drop, and then they built a partnership, and then they steadied the ship to put New Zealand in a position of control from where they could have
yeah.
probably accelerated and gone to 300. But then they couldn't finish as well, something that New Zealand would be looking to do better as well. You have a Glenn Phillips. We don't know about Jimmy Nisham's availability, but Mitchell Santner, Glenn Phillips, Mark Chapman, these are the three players that need to step up with the bat as well, which they haven't done so far in this tournament, apart from one or two cameos.
I agree. I agree. I think a lot of these nerves will settle in by the time India starts to bat and India gets off to a good start. But at this point, the nerves is all about that particular day, right? 2019 is a trauma. A lot of people are saying about nerves. I think I saw a comment from Michael Andrew as well,
Yeah,
saying very
how to control
nervous.
nerves.
You have to control nerves. I mean, I remember Mahendra Singh Dhoni because if you remember 2011, it was even more nervous. It was a pressure match against
It was India
Pakistan.
versus Pakistan,
I
where
mean,
both the
let's be
prime
honest,
ministers
World
were
Cup
there
semi-final.
to
It
witness the
was
game.
the epitome of pressure. So Mahendra Singh Dhoni just came out saying that if you want to be in the pressure, you will be inside a pressure cooker rather. So you have to come out of it. You'll have to go out and play. I think the pressure and the nerves settled down the moment Sehwag took on Umar Gul. So everyone was like, oh wait, oh yeah, we are breathing much more easy. Though they were like follow wickets, Wahabias at a 5 wicket haul later on, but we were
But
breathing
at least
much
Suresh
easier.
Raina was there. Yeah.
Yeah, Suresh Raina saved our ship time and time again. So if you have to just compare with 2011, who's going to be today's Suresh Raina? Is it going to be Surya Kumar Yadav? High chances because if you look at it, it's his home ground and he has not played that knock. We
Yeah.
wanted Surya Kumar Yadav in the team to play that knock. Like, is
Yeah.
it
And
today?
he's there in the team to play that knock for the next two games. I think Shubman Gill is another player that will be absolutely ready and hyped to go because you looked, it was a different Shubman Gill in the game against Netherlands. You can say that you haven't seen Shubman Gill come out with that sort of an intent, earlier on, because probably Rohit Sharma was doing that job for the team.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
the intent that he showed against Netherlands, I think
But
that
it
was
clearly
something.
shows that it's not a one-dimensional opening
Yeah,
pair that Shubman defends and Rohit
exactly.
hits. You can go to that gear as well. On that
Nobody
day,
can say
Rohit hit
Shubman
it back.
defends when he goes at a strike rate in excess of 100. I mean, Shubman Gill is one of those batters who can really upset the momentum of any opening bowler with
Yeah.
some of his
But
shots
let's
and
just talk about toss. So from reports what we are getting, there's a lot of dew in that ground post 7:45 8. Now, now the biggest thing is it's a two-edged sword, right? You play for the dew, and by the time you survive the 1 hour, you've lost 3 4 wickets, and then dew doesn't really make a big difference. But then you play for the dew, you don't lose wickets. You keep almost 9 wickets or 10 wickets in hand after the first 1 hour. And now the biggest question, okay, a lot of people have this doubt that why does the ball swing a lot in Wankhede in second innings, and why is batting second such a hard task? Now there are two reasons to it, right? Number one, 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock is the best batting time in Wankhede. There's no sea breeze. Now, if you look
yeah,
at the Wankhede the ground, it's very close to the Marine Drive. You've seen the drone cams and you've seen a lot of these things. It is very close to the Marine Drive. It's very close to the sea. And also, there's a lot of theories I've heard. Zahir Khan, multiple ballers say when there's a high tide, the ball swings around even more than in comparison with a low tide. Because if you look at the undercurrents, right? If you look at the surface level of it, before in Mumbai, that was all underwater. So if you look at the undersurface of the Wankhede ground, it is still in connection with ocean to an extent. So there is a lot of moisture which comes into the pitch when there is high tide days, and this is very very important. If you are if you look how much science and external factors affect the game, this cricket is as simple an example as that. Brabon and Wankhede are two grounds which are very close to each other, and on a high tide day, the ball does move around a lot more than a low tide day in Marine
yeah.
Drive. So what that means is there's a lot of moisture underneath the surface which comes in because of the sea levels being very next to the ground, and not just that, the sea breeze. Now
Breeze.
twilight period, right? Now when you talk about IPL, the IPL starts at 7:30, 7:45. Now by then the dew is almost there, or by the time you come to bat in second innings, there is no
The ball
twilight
is coming
period.
onto the bat. Yeah,
And it's summer, right? And it's summer. Secondly, it's summer, so the conditions are so much more different now. You can say it's post monsoon. It's that good weather time in Mumbai as well. It's not way too hot, but it's humid during that particular period, 2 to 6, and there's a lot of condensation, a lot of things that takes place in that particular 1 hour of the day, 6:30 to 7:30, where it is close to impossible to connect with the bat. You saw that Sri Lankan game; it was epic bowling. If India would have batted against India's own bowling, India would have collapsed as well. That's how beautiful India's bowling was that day, and it's how tough it has been Wankhede to chase because of that particular period, 6:30 to 7:30. There's no dew; it's twilight period. Now we talk about in the day and night test match, twilight period is the hardest to bat. Under lights, no sun, a lot of sea breeze, moisture setting in under the surface, hardest time to play in Wankhede. This is one of the reasons why it is so hard to play in Wankhede in that 1 hour, and this is where a lot of teams collapse. So, if you're going to bat second, there is always a chance of collapse, but then there's also possibility of chasing anything down. But then you are not going to go for to take that risk in a big game like this is Nisabdiwan.
yeah, exactly. And I think you have pretty much hit the nail in the coffin. I think that is exactly the reason why a lot of teams, I mean, all the teams that have played in Wankhede so far have found it really, really difficult to play under the lights in the first 10 to 15 overs. But once you are able to survive that, then you saw a Pat Cummins stay there in the pitch for 68 deliveries without much effort. And you also saw Glenn Maxwell play one of the innings of ODI cricket, scoring those 201 runs. Because once the pitch gets flat, not flat exactly. Once the dew sets in, the ball comes onto the bat much easier, and then you have a lot of your probability to score runs freely increases. But then again, it all comes down to what you are doing in the first 20 overs. Because first 15 to 20 overs, till the dew sets in at 7:30 or 7:45, 6:45, 7, whatever, till the dew sets in till 7 p.m., 20 overs of the second innings will already be done. So
Yeah,
yeah, so you'll have to really adjust, and you'll have to keep that target in your head. And I think if you are set a target of say 350, 330, then to play out 20 overs as if nothing has happened and get behind the ball game is very, very difficult for some of the teams. You even don't want to be at 90 for 2 after 20 overs if you're chasing something in excess of 330, 340, because then the pressure will set in, and you look to play big shots and get out eventually. So that is why I think it will be still favorable for the team batting first if they can bat themselves to victory, because it is going to be very, very I mean, not easy, but it is going to be better to bat on. Even if the pitch is on the slower side, even if the ball is holding on to the surface a bit. You saw in the game against Sri Lanka as well. Kohli and Gill did go on to score 190 runs. I mean, they built a partnership of 190 odd runs. But then
Yeah.
again, there was no fluidity in Kohli's knock as well. Eventually, Kohli got out to a slower delivery, trying to, I don't know, guide the ball to covers. I mean, he just hit the wrong spot in the bat, and the ball just held up a bit on the pitch. And even a slower delivery did in Rohit Sharma as well. If you think about it, Dilshan Madhushanka, after getting hit for a boundary of the first delivery, he came in, bowled a off cutter of the second delivery, and that
Yeah.
really baffled Rohit Sharma. So I think the pitch is going to be on the slower side in the first innings as well. So you'll have to apply yourself. If you get in at the Wankhede, give yourself 15 to 20 deliveries, then I think you can go on and score some big runs.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think Sandeepani will continue the live, and Sandeepani, I've given you the access as well. I'll be sending you a mail. Just check your mail, because the thing is, you can use the pictures and images also there. So you can check your mail. You'll be getting a mail right now for access.
And I think
So
you do that after you come back. I think I mean, how long will you be gone for?
I have a small commitment with another show, so I'll just do that and come back very soon.
We can start
Uh,
another. We can start another live.
okay, we can start
Maybe
another
part
live
two.
then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we can start another
I
live.
mean, it
So
will be
we'll
awkward
join
for
at,
me to carry on alone, right?
yeah. So yeah, I understand that. So we'll join at 1:30 sharp.
130. Sharp.
Sharp.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. See you guys.
Bye bye, guys.